Hey everybody, welcome to our live feed here on YouTube. I'll tell you what, we are looking at a bait that you guys, a lot of people probably haven't seen before. And we're with Andrew. Hey Andrew.
How you doing?
From BEAVERTAIL, and you are the BEAVERTAIL expert, so I am going to let you talk about your product. And we're going to do more of these product reviews and stuff. Right now we're working on a thing with tip-ups that we're going to be coming out with in the next couple of weeks. What is the best tip-up? So we're always doing different things, but BEAVERTAIL is a very unique product. And I'll tell you, if you love to catch big gills, big crappies, you know what, perch, it's definitely the bait to use. And so take it from there.
Yeah, so we're a meat-based product. We're meat, not a plastic. It's kind of our one thing that we do different. So what you get is you get a really soft, supple product that moves like crazy. I'm gonna rig one up here in just a minute. But what's really great about it, our claim to fame, is just how durable it is. I mean, we fish all day on a piece, 30 to 50 gills. What did we do last winter? I think Vince and those guys were each getting 50.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Not that that's going to happen every time, but that's pretty impressive for sure. Absolutely. And it really is real beaver tail.
Yes, and that's what makes it so soft. There's a lot of plastics out there. It's not plastic, again, it's a meat, but there's a lot of plastics out there that move like crazy, and there's some really good ones out there that
certainly is.
But they're not, because they're so soft, they can't be durable. That's just not a property plastic has. So I'm going to take you through, I'm going to rig you one here. So this is a piece of our purple.
And typically when you buy a package of BEAVERTAIL, Andrew, how many pieces are in the BEAVERTAIL?
12.
Package. 12
Unless
pieces.
I'm packaging it real late at night, then you might get 13.
Oh, okay. So at least 12 pieces in it.
So you can rig it up just like this, and I do often for perch on a spoon or even walleyes. I'll just take and snip one end of it, and it'll kind of make two little flaps.
Like a tail.
Yep. But for gills especially, and that's what I love around here, I'll take and I'll cut it in half, and I'll try and make one end really thin. Just get this here. You can either use a braid scissors.
How far up are you cutting it?
I cut it
3/4 of the way.
Yep. Well, I got this one really thin. It's gonna be crazy. So you can see I got that one almost too thin, but just perfect. That one's not going to be as durable, but for showing you guys, it's going to look. And if you're crappie fishing, this would really kill them.
Drives them crazy.
Just hook them in through the front.
Okay.
And we'll see how this one goes.
You know, when I've said this many times, when it comes to fishing, everybody, little things definitely make a big difference. And that's the cool part about BEAVERTAIL. Especially if you like to fish giant gills and perch and crappies. It's something that they haven't seen a lot of, and you can do a lot of unique things just because of the amount of action that you can get out of that tail with that bait.
Absolutely. You can stretch and pull it. You can kind of snip the edges. I've done that before, and it just kind of starts to look like little appendages. I got to get this one straightened out a little bit. One thing I like to talk about with it, though, is you got to, with any plastic, anything like this, you got to keep it really good and straight. Otherwise, when you're jigging, it'll start to spin, and that's one of the biggest complaints. I think people overwork it, and it'll start to spin if you don't have it straight, and then bluegill, as soon as you stop it to let him finish, he's going to see it spinning back, and he's gone.
Here's a trick that I learned a long time ago, you guys, with any kind of bait, crankbait, any type of jig, anything. Really the best thing to do, if it's something that you haven't used before and you're trying to get down the right cadence, it's always important to put it in the water far enough where you can see the bait, and you can, especially when it comes to a bait like this and you're jigging it, so you kind of know in your mind and you get that visual of when you're jigging it, what kind of different action you're getting out of it, and then go try to pick a decent cadence. And that's the big thing about using a Vexlar, is because if that fish comes in and he goes away right away, you better change your cadence or change the color of your jig or the color of the BEAVERTAIL, and give them what they want, because that's you're always learning by your electronics.
And it's the little things. It's so many times that you're jigging it like I am right now, and a fish comes up, and I see guys stop when that fish comes up, and all of a sudden they go away, and it's like, why did you stop? You came in, you were jigging. And then there's other days when you keep jigging through that bite. That's what I call it, jigging through the bite, and you're just not getting bites, and you do need to stop. You just gotta let them tell you.
That's a fact. Again, that's why you use your Vexlar, so you know that.
The tail off. There we go. You can see the way, like, you can see your heartbeat in it. I hold it as still as I can, and I shake a little, but
I think we all naturally shake. That's a fact. Some of us a little bit more than others. So how many colors does beavertail have?
We've got our natural white. We've got a bright pink. I believe that's up front there.
Right here. Yep. Bright pink.
Purple. And just as of tonight, we had it at the show, and you guys have absolutely been asking for it.
Chartreuse.
So chartreuse. If it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use.
Right.
So I brought it back, and it's live on the website right now.
And the website is?
BEAVERTAILbait.com. You can find it there. You'll be able to find it at Dick Smith's and a lot of our other retailers really soon. I know that they should be getting it this weekend or Monday.
Okay.
So.
Hey, I'll tell you what, any questions real quick?
Cody wants to know if you can see that in murky water like on Lake Winnebago.
The beavertail?
Yes.
Yes. Yep, definitely can see it. Yep, there's no doubt about that.
Now,
And it's going to be murky this year with
yeah.
it being ripped open so many different times.
Now, do you go real bright on a murky lake?
Well, I'm kind of a dark water, dark colors.
Dark?
Yeah,
Me
that's my philosophy. Yep.
That's why I
Clear
did the
lakes,
purple.
bright colors. Yep, for sure. Yep.
That's that, like Mississippi River backwaters, that sort of thing. That's why I made the purple ones. Chartreuse in clear water and just a sunny day sometimes is the difference. All of our colors this year too, I should mention this, they're all UV glow.
Okay.
So they won't, it's not like a glow in the dark where they stay glowing, but when they're down deep, you're still gonna get those UV rays down past 10 feet where everything else is cleared out, so you're still gonna see color.
Hey, let's talk real quick before we let everybody go, is that, cut the sides of the beaver tail and show how that kind of makes little tentacles coming off of it. And little things, again, make such a big difference. And especially, you think about the winter, you get more fronts in the winter than any other time of year. And obviously the water temperature is at its coldest point. So just doing little things can really change your game for sure. And especially when it comes to bluegills. Bluegills, I think people underestimate bluegills. They can be very, very tricky. I mean, of course, the 3 to 4, 5, 6 inchers typically are easy to catch, but when you start talking about gills that are in that 7.5 to 10 inch range, they're pretty darn smart. They got that big for a reason.
Right. Absolutely, and those are the ones that you really need to pay attention to, because anybody can catch a 5-inch gill. Usually, I don't know if Hunter can.
Not Hunter, but yeah. So basically what you're doing is you're cutting the beaver tail again.
Yep.
Right down the middle. And then what you're doing is you're actually cutting the sides of the beaver tail.
Yeah, I'm gonna re-rig this one. That other one was more of like how I guess I'd like to rig it if it's a really subtle bite. So I'm gonna rig a little thicker piece, and I think it'll be a lot easier to see the sides here when I do this.
So how long will each piece last?
Usually we fish one all day, but I would say after 30 or 40 fish, they start to get kind of mushed up.
Right.
And
depends on how aggressive they are too. I've fished it and caught 10, 15 of them and had to change it. Some days, especially you start getting bigger fish and they're aggressive. It seems like the perch, them goddamn perch, they're just terrorizers.
I will say I do end up changing it a lot, or I change it a lot. I obviously got a few of these to play with, but whether it actually falls off is very rare.
And it's not that expensive. I mean, we're talking
$3.99
a pack. That's pretty inexpensive.
You're gonna go through that in waxies; they'll be dead before you got
right.
heads.
So let's quick show them what you did there.
Yeah, so I cut it in half, made it a little bit thinner.
Yep.
And then what I'm
doing must have good eyes.
Is I'm snipping the edges of it.
Now watch what this does. Just by doing that look, changing that and just making them little slices in the sides of that body on that beaver tail.
We get it. It's another thing. I like to get it horizontal. Get that knot down.
Right. Now hopefully you guys can see and gals can see that at home.
It just got like It is a little tough to see yet. It'll come out as it sits in the water. It gets softer and softer. Actually, the first fish is the hardest one for me to get because after it mushes just a little bit, it gets better. It gets softer and it gets even more like ripped up and more of those little appendages naturally come off.
I'll tell you a little trick that I learned is that I kind of take the piece and I kind of roll it in my fingers back and forth for, probably about, 30 seconds to a minute. And it really seems to soften it up to just doing, I didn't want to tell you that, but I will tonight tell you that, right? Because I hate it when you outfish me, and you usually do. Right?
And Larry, like people always ask me how to rig it. Not always, but they ask me often how to rig it. How do you use it? I think that's the wrong question to ask. I appreciate it, and I'll show you how I do it. But I say we're fishermen, and everybody I've taken and watched more people use my own product better than I ever could.
Right.
And that's what you got to do. You got to learn from other people.
That's a fact.
Or do your
Everything
own
I've
thing.
learned has been from other people, and I'll tell you that statement for sure.
About how many are in each pack?
12 pieces come in each pack, unless it's a real late night of packaging, and then maybe there's a 13th one in there. Or,
Right.
A little bit of finger from cutting too deep or something.
Right.
Just kidding.
And when you're not using it, you like to put it in the freezer, the fridge.
Nope, not in
Yeah.
not in the freezer,
Yeah, don't freeze it
because it's a meat product.
And I will say, if people say it's ice fishing, it should be able to freeze, and it can. You can leave it on the ice. In your
You don't freeze
shack.
your spikes in your wax worms. I'm going to tell you that
Right.
much, right?
Yeah, you can leave it. No, you don't. But you could leave it sitting I leave it sitting on the ice next to my hole all day, and I'm fine. It's when you leave it in your truck overnight and it freezes hard.
Right,
And then
solid.
goes back, it's like bacon. It's still got the scent. It's still going to catch probably a fish. It's going to be harder to hook though, and it's going to come off after the first one or two.
Right.
So it's just not the durability. But as long as you keep it in the refrigerator,
You're fine.
a couple of years worth. Yeah.
Okay, hey everybody, one more time, if you want to get some beaver tail, you definitely want to check out Andrew and go to
BEAVERTAILbait.com.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our live feed here on YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're always each and every week producing at least 1 to 2 different episodes, and you know what? We truly believe in the outdoors and love people that do the same. And remember, like I always say, hey, it's definitely a great day to be alive. What'd you have there?